Hi guys, today I am going to show you how to make a fantastic summer dessert recipe. This one might just be one of my new favorites. At some point, and we hope it's soon, we will be able to have friends back in our home, and when we do, you will think of this recipe because it is so easy. You can make everything ahead of time, and all you have to do is cut the cake and serve the ice cream with the sauce. I mean, how easy is that, right? All right, let me show you how to make it. Now, before you set out on making the pound cake, I'm going to show you how to make that first. There are 3 ingredients that you want to have at room temperature because it makes all the difference for pound cake. One is 2 sticks of butter. So I actually just leave the butter out in the morning if I know I'm going to make this in the afternoon. There isn't really a good way to rush softening butter. As tempting as it might be to pop it in the microwave, I've tried that. That just turns into a big mess. Don't do that. So the only thing is you just need to have a little patience. So usually an hour, maybe 2 hours is like perfect. Now there is a cheat for getting eggs at room temperature. Just place them in a bowl like this and fill it up with some warm water. And in a matter of like 5 minutes, you will have room temperature eggs. And then the other thing you want to have ready is your sour cream. That's another thing that needs to be at room temperature, and that only takes about 30 minutes or so. The reason why we want to get all of these things at room temperature is it's going to help our batter incorporate so much better. And one of the secrets to pound cake, to having it really light and fluffy, is to have ingredients that all play nicely together. So you know what I mean? If you've ever tried to take like cold butter and cold eggs and try to get them to whip, they don't want to play nice with each other. They really don't. It separates and it really is hard to get that to be combined. But if everything's room temperature, smooth sailing. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is get our mixer going. Now you can definitely do this in a bowl with a hand mixer, not a problem, especially if your butter is room temperature. All right, so in goes 2 sticks of butter. I know, this is what's going to make it delicious. Now, if you wanted to just turn this into a regular pound cake and not do the coconut, you could do that too. I know there are people who don't like coconut. And then we're gonna do, not me though, I love coconut. Then we're gonna do 1.25 cups of just regular granulated sugar, and it goes. Okay, my second tip when it comes to delicious light and fluffy pound cake, this stage, the butter and the sugar, you have to let that beat up for at least 5 minutes. This is kind of why I like the stand mixer for this, because you can multitask. So if you're doing it with a hand mixer, just be patient, because the lighter and the fluffier the butter and the sugar become at this stage, the lighter and the fluffier the pound cake. All right, here we go. After 5 minutes, it will look like this. And look at this texture. You guys see that? It's almost like a whipped cream, or like a really light and fluffy frosting. So you shouldn't actually feel the weight of the butter anymore. That's when you know it's good to go. Time to add the eggs. And then here's the other thing, tip number 3. You have to beat the eggs one at a time, because if you put them all in there, it'll be really hard to incorporate those eggs with the butter. It's almost like making an emulsion. You have to give it time. So here we go, 4 eggs, one at a time, scraping down in between each addition. This is looking great. It's very fluffy. Okay, so now we're going to add some extracts. So I do like to add some vanilla extracts, so we're going to do at least a teaspoon of that. And then here's the secret weapon, the coconut extract. You can find this just near all the other extracts. It's amazing how many extracts there actually are in the extract aisle. I think it gives it a really lovely, subtle coconut flavor. We're going to do 2 teaspoons, but we're also going to add shredded coconut, unsweetened as well. And I think the combination between the 2 is so great. Okay, and then we're going to whip this up again. Oh, that smells so delicious, the coconut. It's so good. Okay, now the other secret with moist and delicious pound cake is not too much flour. So a lot of recipes will call for 2 cups of flour. I actually think it's a little too much, if you ask me. If you want a denser pound cake, then by all means go the 2 cups. I do 1.75 cups. So that's one of the things I love about this pound cake that you'll really love too, is how light and fluffy it is. It's so delicious. And a lot of that is how you measure the flour. So let me show you how I measure the flour, because I think it's important to understand how the person who developed the recipe measures so that you get the same amount. So I am a scooper and a shaker. So this is what I do, and I do this for all my recipes. So if you follow my recipes, do it like this and you can't go wrong. I scoop and then I shake. So the shaking kind of levels it out. So I would not pack in the flour either, because that will give you so much more flour than is needed. The only thing I would really pack would be brown sugar. So we have the flour here, we're all ready to go. Okay, then we're also gonna add some baking powder. So we're gonna do 1 teaspoon 3/4. Then we're also gonna do a 1/2 teaspoon of salt. There we go, easy peasy. We're just gonna whisk this up, just like this. Do you like my slightly overhead angle? I'm trying something new. It's a little pedestal and you can like stick it on things, and I've stuck it on a box, and so I'm hoping it allows you guys to kind of see better. We'll see. Okay, here's the technique for pound cake that I think adds to a really delicious moist pound cake, and that is to alternate your dry ingredients with the sour cream. So I'll show you what I mean. So we're gonna just do this in thirds. So we're going to do 1/3 of the flour, and it goes. And we're just gonna beat this. We don't wanna overmix, because if you overmix, that flour will start to make our batter or our finished cake really tough. So we just wanna do it just until it combines. Then we're gonna add the sour cream. So you'll do maybe 1, 2 scoops. And then we're gonna repeat this process just until we've used up all our flour and all of our sour cream, and definitely scrape down the bowl in between each addition. Then we are just going to make sure, see, that all that butter in the bottom is combined, because it will actually streak on you if it hasn't been combined well. So when you go cut into your pound cake, you might see like butter streaks. So we wanna make sure we don't get that. Then you can add the coconut. So this is just unsweetened coconut flakes. And I like to get the fine flakes because I find that that helps not upset the texture too much. It gives you the coconut flavor and a little bit of texture without overdoing it. Okay, so I have a bread loaf pan that I have sprayed with some baking spray. I'm a big fan of the baking spray. I don't know. I know our grandmothers are all about the butter and the flour technique. I just find if you want a foolproof release, go for the baking spray. Okay, and here we go. 350 for 55 minutes to 60 minutes, or when a toothpick comes out clean. Okay, so while our cake is in the oven, I can show you how we're gonna make our syrupy mango sauce that's gonna go over the top. It is over the top, it's so delicious. So I have here a pound of frozen mango. This is like my new favorite trick, is to just buy the frozen mangoes, because A, you don't have to cut them, and if you've ever cut and peeled a mango, you know how much work that is. And B, they're all cut at the same size, so you know that they're gonna cook down at the same rate. And C, they're less expensive. So 3 reasons why to buy frozen mangoes. Okay, in our pot they're gonna go, and then we're also gonna add a 1/4 cup of just plain white sugar, and then a 1/4 cup of water. Now we already have a great thing going with the mango and the coconut. That is a great flavor combination. But you can add a little bit of grated ginger to the mix, and that adds a nice little spiciness that's a little bit unexpected, but really works well with all these other flavors. We're gonna do 2 teaspoons. So you just wanna stir this up, and we're gonna cook these down until they get nice and tender. So see, they're starting to bubble and get all syrupy. Then you wanna go in with a potato masher. If you don't have a potato masher, you could also use a fork. We just want them to become more like a sauce, because that will make it easier to spoon over our ice cream once this is all plated. This is looking pretty good. Now, one final tip for you with this. I like to add a little pinch of salt, because this isn't gonna make it salty, it's just gonna heighten all the flavors. And if you make this recipe at home, you have to promise me you will try this. Taste it at this stage, okay? And then add a pinch. So just like 3 fingers, just a pinch, not too much, of the salt, okay? And then stir it up, and then taste it. And you will be amazed at how much more pronounced the mangoes are, and the ginger, and all of those flavors. Because salt, at the end of the day, is really just a flavor enhancer. So whatever you're adding it to, it will just enhance those flavors. Now, of course, if you put too much, then you're gonna go into Saltyville. It's gonna taste really salty. But I love to use it in desserts like this, because it'll just heighten all the flavors you're working with. And then when it's done, it'll look like this. See how gorgeous it cracks in the middle, which is the perfect spot to put your skewer to see if it's done. And I like to use a skewer over a toothpick, because these pans are so deep, and that's what you want, nice and clean. Out it comes. So here is my favorite way to do this. I would just run a knife right along the perimeter, just to make sure you've loosened everything. Then I go like this. I put one hand on the cake, one hand on the bottom, and in one fluid motion, give yourself a flip, and then put your other hand here and give it another flip down. And I think that's the best way to release a pound cake. And then I also like to cut it with a bread knife because I find it's a very delicate cake, and the bread knife with its serrated edges is just a little bit better than like a big chef knife would be. Oh my gosh, it's still a little bit warm. It is so fluffy and delicious. Oh my gosh, you guys. It's all that butter whipping, I'm telling you. Okay, then we are going to plop a big scoop of vanilla ice cream on top, and then our mango sauce. Just spoon this over the top. And then you can top with the toasted coconut. I am gonna have a taste of this one because I took all my blog photos yesterday. So I can have a bite. It's so hard to pass up. Let's just give it a try, shall we? Oh, this is so good. I cannot wait for you to try this. And tell me what you think. The cake is so light and fluffy, the creamy ice cream and that tart mango, and of course those little crunch of the coconut flakes. It is gonna be your new favorite summer dessert. And you can make the whole thing ahead of time. And then next week, let me know what we should do. Should we do something sweet, something savory? I have been holding out on this Nutella ice cream recipe that is so good, but I'm so afraid maybe a lot of people don't have ice cream makers, so let me know in the comments if you want the Nutella ice cream or if we should make something savory. Maybe we could whip up a easy summer pasta or something. You let me know. All right, I'll see you then. Bye.